You're welcome to the Policy Council. My name is Opeyemi Agbaje. This week we commence a series on the role of ICT, Information, Communication and Technology in national development. In this edition, we focus on ICT and national competitiveness. My guest is an expert in the field, and together we'll navigate the issues around how information, communication and technology can be a source of competitive advantage for businesses and for the country. Enjoy the program. You're welcome back to the Policy Council. My guest today is an information systems professional. She's a lecturer, senior fellow at the Lagos Business School. She has a PhD or rather a DBA in information systems from the Manchester Business School. Dr. Yinka David West. Yinka, you're welcome to me.
Thank you.
She used to be my colleague on the faculty of the Lagos Business School.
Yes.
How's Lagos Business School?
Good, thank you.
What, in your view, is the state of ICT development, information communication technology, in Nigeria at this point?
Okay, before we can answer that, we have to understand the scope of ICT. It's actually a very broad area. So when we look at information and communications technology, we're looking at hardware, we're looking at software and services, and we're also looking at communications. The communication sector, which we all know, GSM, over a decade in Nigeria, has actually transformed the country in terms of technology. However, when you look at the other services or the other areas, hardware and software, the hardware industry, local hardware industry is still struggling because yes, we do have our OEMs, which are original equipment manufacturers, but even with those OEMs, they're still trying to push in terms of economies of scale and grow in the region. In terms of software, we also have a bit of a dearth because most of our software is foreign and imported. So we're trying to look at, okay, how can the Nigerian software developers also gain market share in this environment? So from the communications perspective, we've grown with voice and data. From broadband, we're still trying to grow with, because hopefully once the broadband argument or once the broadband propagates into the industry, the prices will begin to drop. But in terms of hardware and software, we're still a bit low, because when you look at the user base of technology, it's not at the small business level. It's still at the medium and larger sectors. Let's break it down a bit. Contrast for me your view about IT leverage in the private sector versus the public sector. In the private sector, you see IT has been used extensively in several industries. Oil and gas is one of those areas that IT has been used extensively. And those are internationals? Most of the MNCs, yes. The global manufacturers are actually using a lot of ERPs and enterprise planning systems. The local manufacturers are also trying to get coordinated, because it's all about the need for information and information driving your production processes, etc., etc. Financial services, definitely. That's probably the most advanced IT leverage in the country. The most local. Indigenous IT leverage in the country, yes, financial services. And we see it because they've not only changed the banking landscape in terms of bringing online real-time banking into the development, but now they've gone a step further in terms of self-service banking and all the self-service initiatives where you don't need to go into the physical branch anymore, but your branch is wherever you are. Financial management and financial control is very popular in many organizations, because you want to see where the money is moving to, and ensuring that everything is clocked and logged and financial statements are generated, especially when small businesses or medium businesses are seeking financing in the banking industry. So you find out that there's focus on the accounting and financial systems. Other areas, other business areas like customer management, operations, human resource management are still growing. Yes. So, okay, you spoke about the dearth of local software. Well, what do you think accounts for that? We've had many years of graduating computer science graduates like yourself and many others. Why haven't we been able to crack software? Okay, I wouldn't say there is a dearth of local software per se. There is local software, but is the local software rich enough to run an enterprise business? In terms of financial services or some other mission critical applications, it's 24/7, 365. It doesn't close. So do we have local software that can run 24/7, 365? Even when you break down, is there the continued support to ensure that, oh, there's a problem tomorrow, someone is continuously working and developing that area? Software is also about economies of scale. Because if you're not selling to 1 million people, how much can you afford to maintain in terms of the cost of development? Your cost of development are more or less the same, whether you're building 1 or you're building 100. So you find out that there are very few software companies in Nigeria that have focused on a specific area. For example, System Specs, John Obaro has focused on human manager and human development. That's the only product he has. He doesn't have an array of 40 or 50 development applications, but yet he's been in the business for 20 years. Now, how many software makers are in the business for that long? What is the market space? What is the market share? So you realize that until we begin to develop the bottom of the pyramid when it comes to using technology, not everybody can sell to the oil and gas companies. Not everybody can sell to the financial services companies. There are even too few of them.
Okay, you lead us into the area of SME leverage of technology, and we'll take that right after this time out.
My name is Laide Awoyemi. I live for Lagos. You see, as our new Lagos just define it good. Good thing, good though. To go market now, no hard at all. Just pay. Sit down inside BRT bus. Small time, you don't reach where they go. Hospital call, the full ground. And for me and my pikin where I just born, treatment now free. You look left, you look right. Them they build new roads, new hospitals, new schools, new things everywhere. Everywhere they shine, gone. We thank God though. But come on, I hear saying that this tax money where they pay, and then they used to do all these good things. Yeah, they pay my own tax too. Say they pay your own.
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
You're welcome back to the Policy Council with Yinka David West, Doctor, Senior Fellow at the Lagos Business School. Yinka, so you were leading us into the fact that we don't have a large user base, probably because the SMEs by and large don't use technology. What accounts for that?
Affordability is one of the biggest challenges for SMEs, but even affordability aside, there's also the issue of knowledge and expertise. IT is very complicated and complex, and unfortunately we have a lot of IT professionals out there who are sometimes taking over undue advantage of the ignorance of the user space. So you find out that with an SME, he buys a computer, and you say, okay, you need a computer to run your business. So he buys it. Then you tell him, oh, but you need antivirus, you need operating environment, Microsoft things, and all the other tools and utilities. And then the price continues to grow. But you see, however, if you had told the SME that you need all these things and the cost is maybe double the cost of just the computer, he probably would not have acquired it. Even when they've acquired, knowledge is an issue in terms of use, because we all have the same technology, but the leverage we get out of it is from the effective use of the technologies. Do they have the time to sit down, burn the midnight oil to learn how to draw a graph in Excel? And it's as simple as it seems. A lot of SMEs are battling many things because they're the human resource manager, they're the marketing manager, they're the finance manager, and yet you now want them to be the technology manager. So you find out that in their scale of things, it normally just drops to the back seat.
Just like you said, most SMEs, Excel is probably all they need to run their business, maybe with Word to type their letters, but they don't know the use. Isn't there a gap for some service provider to leverage Excel and do pre-produced applications or designs of all the major typical things that is an SME will need? Yes,
definitely. That's where you have the Enterprise Development Center at Pan-African University. They have what they call an SME toolkit. And within that SME toolkit, what they've tried to do is define what are the financial or needs or toolkit needs of businesses in terms of templates. So you can go to the SME toolkit for Nigeria, you can get a profit and loss template, you can get a balance sheet template, you can get all these things.
An HR template,
an HR template, an employee policy
to help you pay your
yes, they've developed it from the Nigerian perspective. But you find out that there's still very few SMEs who want to sit down, especially business owners who want to sit down and do that nitty-gritty work. Yes, you can have somebody do it for you, but the challenge is that you still need to be the one to drive it within your business, because the change management within your own organization needs to take place from the leadership initiative. And if that's not there, you get a consultant, the consultant comes, shows your people, shows you what to do, he goes, but yet your problem still persists. So our SMEs also need to begin to devote some more of their time to some of these eternal issues to ensure that their businesses can actually get the leverage that they're paying for.
Which probably raises the question of education. Perhaps there's insufficient acculturization within the educational system towards IT, which makes us regard it, even supposedly highly educated managers in some cases, it's almost a foreign element. It's something that you're scared of. What can we do? And I'm sure you would have perspectives on that from your work at LBS. What can the educational system do? Or what should it do? What has it done to make IT more familiar to the Nigerian manager?
There's two parts of IT. There's the front end part of IT and the back end part of IT. Unfortunately, the business manager or the business user does not need to know what's at the back. All he wants to do is put on his computer and it works and he can do what he wants to do. So we need to sort of demystify IT. A lot of IT has been, it's wrapped around in technical jargon. You talk to an IT person, oh, I can't print, and he tells you the long history of why you can't print, but that doesn't solve your problem. Then another thing we also need to do is we need to train our managers appropriately. Going for a training on Excel in terms of file save, file open, file close doesn't really give you the insights into how do I build a financial statement in Excel. So sometimes I think part of the training is that we're doing too much of it. We should be doing 2 hours a week in terms of doing what you need to know for that day, and then you move on to another topic, but we're trying to cram too much in.
Okay, let's take another time out. I'm having this fascinating discussion on ICT and national competitiveness with Dr. Yinka David West of the Lagos Business School. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. Still the Policy Council with Opeyemi Agbaje. Yinka, let's talk about government. What should government be doing? Is there a role policy can play or should play? Or should we even bother about government at all? What can government do to encourage leveraging ICT for national competitiveness? Okay,
in terms of national competitiveness, Nigeria hasn't really done all that well in terms of at the 3 tiers, business, government and users, in terms of adoption and use. However, you find out that the one thing government can do is to make the environment workable for business. In terms of consumer products and goods, there's nothing government can do in terms of policy. Nokia, when they came to Nigeria, they came and people bought the product because they saw the value in it. The same thing with BlackBerry. Now I think one of the CDMA companies is now developing BlackBerry for CDMA. So the bottom line is that the market will drive themselves. Government needs to ensure that the environment is there.
In terms of copyrights?
In terms of intellectual property protection, privacy protection, etc., etc. But again, we also need to be working on R&D. Now you find out that look at this BlackBerry CDMA issue, for example now. This was an R&D initiative, probably with RIM and the CDMA company. But that must have taken a few years to birth. How many of us are doing R&D in the technology area? Government, we're talking about PhDs and highly trained science and engineering graduates. Unfortunately, when you look at a country, we always compare ourselves to countries like India who have done well in technology, etc., etc. But India is graduating thousands of PhDs every year. A company like IBM in India employs over 500 PhDs. That's more than any Nigerian university. If you look at what we've been reading in the papers about how 1/3 of our university lecturers are don't have PhDs. So you find out that how do we grow, how do we develop, how do we innovate when we're not continually doing these things? The market is about two areas. The acquisition market is one, but then the maintenance and sustainability market is the other one. We still need the high-end engineers to actually maintain this infrastructure. We still need the high-end engineers to ensure that we can continue running 24/7, 365, because you don't want to bring all your suppliers into the country. So NOTAP has been very instrumental in ensuring that there is a registry of what is going on, because they're supposed to be concerned with technology transfer. But the challenge is how much technology is really being transferred back. Because if all we do is register to buy the software systems, what is the process to ensure that the expertise really stays in Nigeria and the Nigerians are developed? Because the IT service industry is a very big industry. But yes, we're focusing on several key areas. We import the products, we market them, we sell, we install, and we move on. But the service industry is still a big industry, and that is where India has also been able to take over in terms of, we can do your service for you, we can do your maintenance for you, and you don't even need to do it onshore.
One of the good signs is increased penetration of mobile, even data is finally growing. What are the implications of this? That should make it easier going forward to drive ICT leverage in Nigeria.
Yes, telecommunications are now the backbone of every IT communication and collaboration initiative. So when you talk about even our electronic banking systems, we all need good telecommunication systems to make them work. So when you look at the penetration, unfortunately, PCs that were in existence in Nigeria since the 1980s, since the early age of the microcomputer, have not gained as much penetration as mobiles. So you find out that today, majority of our users use the internet through the mobile
phones.
The mobile is actually our primary device of use. So if you don't have mobile systems or mobile services, then you find out that you're actually alienating those who have the access away from the systems. But again, a lot of those who have the access are using it for social media. So social media is one of the biggest things, because I'm sure if you listen to the radio, everybody's on Twitter, everybody's on Facebook, and the telecoms companies have actually been very good in unbundling the services, because before you had to buy 30 days, now you can buy for 1 hour. Do what you need to do, and you're running as well.
Isn't there a danger there? We're at the entertainment end of technology again.
Yes, but you find out that technology has converged. Information technology, media technology, voice technology, it's all one device. Because right now, before you had a phone for voice, you had a TV for video, you had a what else? The TV and a modem for data. Today everything comes in one. So you have that convergence, and if you notice also, there's also the approach to also converge NCC and NBC, because we're giving out spectrum licenses, but really, what are we really moving? It's just digital signals. So find out that everything is now one service. So there's little differentiation now between an IT company, a media company, a mobile, a telecoms company, because they're all doing the same. Look at them, MTN and their Niger Nolly or Nolly, whatever they call it. It's a media service over their mobile networks. MTN transfers more money than banks.
Interesting. Let's take a final time out, and I'll be back for the final segment with Yinka David West.
My name is Onye Mike Nzago. I live in Lagos, where things are getting better every day. Our school has just been renovated, and they give us free notebooks too. Going to school is easier and safer for students like me, because I can cross the highway using the footbridge, and I use the BRT bus, which is fast, convenient, and free for students like me. I enjoy looking at the beautiful streets on my way to school, and the many street signs tell me where exactly I am. When I get to Basic 12, the government will pay the fees for my GCE and NECO examinations. I am happy. My mom and dad say all these good things are happening because they pay their taxes. I hope to pay my taxes when I grow up and start working. Have you paid your tax?
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
You're welcome back. The Policy Council with Yinka David West. Yinka, let's talk about IT and business. My first question. Do all these investments in ICT, do they really deliver? Are they functionality or fad?
Okay, that's a very interesting topic because it's a global problem in terms of, does IT really add business value? You can look at it from two perspectives. The fact is that IT does drive your operational processes to a certain degree. IT has the advantage to give you competitive advantage. However, IT is about human beings. Computer systems don't work without the human being. So if you have a fantastic computer system and a human being who does not know how to exploit that computer system, then there's nothing you're going to get out of it. So we can buy the same technologies, but yet we'll get different performance results. So it's about leveraging the effective use of technology within the organizations. It's also about going back to be able to measure what has IT really done in our business. When you look at projects and IT projects, one of the riskiest areas is the fact that how much experience do we have with some of these technologies? Do we, these projects are quite large, and yet we don't have experience and we don't have proper project management and implementation skills. How much attention do our boards of directors pay to the IT investment post-investment decision? In other words, do we go back 6 months, 9 months, 1 year down the line to say, you know what, we spent so much, what has it really done for us? If it hasn't, what do we need to be doing? You see, it's not about what you buy, it's about how you drive what you buy to get what you need. So in the business area, unfortunately, we've done a lot in terms of the acquisition, the partial implementation, but where we have really failed is that transforming our information into knowledge, applying the information systems we've bought and transforming them into actions that can drive our business, new products and services, new initiatives, new customers, etc., etc. So we still need a lot of work in that area.
Okay, let me ask you this final bundled question. Cashless banking or cashlight banking, and then the wider question of e-commerce. Are we ready for those?
Partially. And infrastructurally, we really are still we're not there yet, because one of the things is that we're relying on a telecoms infrastructure that is already bedeviled with inconsistencies and inefficiencies. Now we're trying to put secure financial services on top of that. Something has to give. The telecoms businesses are there to sell data and voice or whatever. They will sell it to whoever. So what we need to do is look at the infrastructure. There are too many failed calls. There are too many failed transactions. There are too many ATMs that don't work because of telecoms, etc., etc. So then on that level, then at the e-commerce level as well, you look at it from the issue of trust. Will I trust the website? Do I know who is behind the website? And whether we like it or not, little things like this have to be addressed from a societal awareness issue. Technology will work wherever you put it, but the technology still needs to be complemented with a whole value chain of activities that need to work progressively. So we're getting there, and some people also try out these systems. For example, someone was telling me an experience of an e-commerce company. Someone bought a fridge and they said, oh, we'll do cash on delivery. So they take the fridge to a Butemeta or somewhere, and the guy says, oh, you're really serious? I thought it was a joke. Okay, so now think about the stocking and the restocking, the transportation, the logistics costs this company has gone through because everybody still thinks it's a joke. And right now we need critical mass. An e-commerce company cannot set up for 50 transactions a day. They need to be doing thousands, yes, in the millions, because their margins are very tiny, because it's also a price sensitive market. So there has to be critical mass, volumes, economies of scale.
Yinka, thank you very much for coming. It's been a very fascinating discussion, like I said before. I'm sure you'll be back on the Policy Council someday soon.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back. We've had an excellent discussion about the role of ICT in national development. My guest and I appear to agree that we're making progress. Greater penetration of internet, of mobile, of data, greater leverage of IT by Nigerian businesses, more in some sectors than others. But we need better education to make Nigerians more familiar and more intimate with information technology. We need policy to drive improving the environment, intellectual property protection, and things like that. We need to focus, the businesses themselves need to focus on functionality and performance rather than just acquisition and the fad that IT does provide. At the end of the day, we need to increase knowledge, awareness, and deepen leverage of ICT, both as a country and as businesses. We will continue this series with other editions in due course. Thank you for watching the Policy Council. See you next time.